But let's get to our next corporate. Bajaj Auto, they reported actually a mixed trend. Exports continue to do well. However, the domestic volumes were a little bit lower than what the street was working with. To understand how the demand trends are shaping up, we have with us Mr. Rakesh Sharma, Executive Director of Bajaj Auto. Hi, Mr. Sharma. Good morning and always good to see you in. Wishing you, your family, the entire team a very, very happy new year and all the best for 2025. Well, let's get to demand first, particularly the domestic demand. There's a degrowth that we are seeing in the domestic volumes. Could you explain this to us? Was it a seasonal, a year-end factor, or is demand a little bit softer than what you expected?
Thank you very much, Nigel, and a very happy new year to all of you as well. I hope you have a great year at CNBC, and it's always a pleasure to engage with you all. So from our point of view, Nigel, the December was as we had expected. You know, there are very few degrees of movement in December for a couple of reasons. Primarily, it follows the season. And as you know, the season was pretty good. So there is some advancement of sales and purchase decisions which occurs. And therefore, December is down. Secondly, there is an element of this model year change, and people feel that, okay, you know, might as well wait till January and, get the new model. Though, you know, OEs try to offset this with some year-end discounts, etc. But because of that, December is always low and, you know, it comes in, there's not much of action there. And so therefore, it came in as expected. We take the opportunity in December to correct stocks, which have, which we continuously build till the season and in the season. And then the season continues till almost middle of November and then December. So the negative which you are seeing in our sales is because of stock correction to some extent.
You know, Mr. Sharma, that point is taken, but, you know, it is Vahan registration itself indicating a drop of 14%. Now, that is a bit worrying because we are comparing season to season. We're not comparing December to November, we're comparing December to the other December. And if the registration itself is low, it's not just a question of inventory correction. It looks like demand has cooled off. Does it worry you?
No, that's what I said. Demand does cool off. And, you know, we would be reading too much in a month where, which is almost like, you know, July and December are almost dead months. To pick up data from just those months and try to extrapolate that would be not correct. The year-to-date growth in the industry is about 8%. And I'm talking here of motorcycles, not two-wheelers, because two-wheelers also includes scooters, and we track motorcycles. So the year-to-date growth is 8%. If I take the full season, which is, you know, which starts actually in September, in the sense that there is a low period in September, and then I compare it with like for like, there has been an 8% growth in what we call September, October, November kind of a period. And going forward, we expect that Q4, the industry, motorcycle industry, should be in, you know, the 6 to 8% kind of a zone. And in that, those trends which I've been talking about, the upper half of the industry growing faster than the bottom half, that we have seen in Q1, Q2, H1, the full season, and we expect that to continue in Q4 as well.
Morning. So let's talk about exports. That's been the bright spot for you. What do you think would be the monthly run rate, at least for the next 3 months now, January, February and March? And what are the trends geographically?
So exports has been in a steady recovery path. Africa, I would say, is still is recovering. Currencies have become stable, but I would say we need to watch it. Asia, Middle East and LATAM are doing pretty well, particularly LATAM. We expect that, you know, year on year, we have been growing at about 20%. Q2 onwards, I think, Q2, Q3. We expect to clock a similar growth rate over last year. So that's the outlook. But the bright spot really is in exports, Latin America, both from an industry point of view and from our point of view. You see, we've in our sort of focus on Africa, we have not taken into account what has unfolded in Latin America through a combination of the LATAM markets doing well and Africa going down. Today, LATAM is twice the size of Africa, just in volumetric terms. And if I look at simply even our average selling prices, which are twice that of what is there in Africa, you can see that the potential of Latin America is almost at this point of time 3 to 4 times that of Latin America. And we are rather delighted by our performance in Latin America. And there is plenty of headroom to grow in places like Mexico and Brazil, Colombia, where we have been growing much faster than the industry. And all our new product introductions, which are lined up now in Latin America, make us feel very optimistic about it. So I would sort of say that, besides the steady 20% growth, there is a lot to be happy about looking at Latin America, both from the opportunity point of view and our preparedness over there.
Okay, all right, Mr. Sharma, I want a couple of details with regard to both your markets. On the domestic front, the CNG model was launched. What are the sales volumes numbers, if you could tell us, in November as well as December, on a month-wise basis? And also, since we're talking about exports, what about Nigeria? You told us December is seasonally weak. Last month, I think you did around 36,000 units. For December, what was it?
Yeah. So Nigeria, it starts to cool off from around Christmas time when people go into holidays. But we are pretty delighted by the performance in December. Two-wheelers turned in another 36,000 unit month, and that following on the 36,000 November, Nigel, as you pointed out, is confidence building about the immediate future. But, having said that, I must point out that this was the peak season, and let's see how January, February, March hold out. But I would expect that to be a tad lower than the seasonal peak, which we saw in November and December. But of course, I think over last year, it would be a good growth. Freedom, as was the case with the motorcycles, with the industry itself, the retail industry itself shrinking, its volumes declined in retail terms in December over November. So we are now clocking about in November and December, about 6 to 8,000 units, 6 to 9,000 units of Freedom 125. Okay. We, as you know, we have introduced a lower priced variant at the entry level, and that has shown us rich promise. So we are again, going to be pushing that in January.
Got that. Rakesh, pleasure speaking with you. Thank you very much for joining us. Once again, a great 2025 to you.